there, this is Brian, and we are going to get in today how we can be professional. And I am going to start with the very basic, and that is a program called Calendly. And this program will be your savior. It's going to be an excellent way that you can book readings and manage your calendar and manage your time and manage everything right from this tool. So let's get started with it. I'm going to open up our browser. We're going to go to www.calendly.com. Okay, so this is what I use, and I'm going to show you mine to give you a good idea. But before we do that, let's look at the pricing. All right, so the basic, the essentials, the professional, I believe that is what I am using. But let's take a look, because I'll tell you the things that you really need. So the calendar connections per person, one is fine. It's just going to be you. So what this means is basically when somebody books with you, it'll show up on your calendar. So you don't have to do it. You don't have to be in your calendar and on Zoom and booking everything. It's really all handled by Calendly, including eventually payments. So that's really good. So it'll connect to the Google Calendar, which most people use, Office 365 and iCloud calendars. Pretty sure people, for the most part, have Google calendars, and all of the different levels there allow that. Access Calendly on your mobiles, all of that do that. Active event types. Okay. So here's where the difference is going to be. So as you're starting, you really only need one event type, a reading. And that's going to be for the duration that you want. So you could actually, in this case, go with the free version. And what you're going to be doing as you start is you're going to be using one-on-one events. So all of them do that. You can create polls. I'll tell you that I don't really use that. You can create one-off meetings. In this case, I don't use that. Collective one-offs is a new feature. Okay, you don't really need that. Customize your booking link. They all do that. So that would be like mine is calendly.com/Brian-Medium. So that's going to be good for you. Create group events while you're starting. It's not really necessary. Automated event notifications, email invitees about the events, cancellations. That's really good and handy, and it's included in all of them. Send your invitee email reminders and follow-ups. Okay, so for me when I started, the follow-up part was kind of important to me. So this might be starting to turn into at least the essentials, the $8 a month plan. And the reason is, as you're beginning and if you're doing free readings to start and kind of build up your clientele like I did, it's going to be really helpful for you to have an automatic email get sent out even right after the event or the next day saying that you're looking for feedback, so that you can get it for your own self, and when you decide to put up your website, you can have these as testimonials. Okay, so now we've got that is a little bonus feature for the paid version. Customize email notifications and reminders. Let's see what that says. Send custom emails to invitees with the information they need for the event. This happens anyway, and I'm pretty happy with the. And I don't believe I changed it, so the default is fine. Get meeting notifications via text. I really haven't asked the people that have signed up with me if they really appreciated that. But personally, what I feel is that emails get lost. Like I have a lot. My cat just shook his head and got me all covered. So for me, the text is really good because it's hard to miss. It's bang, it's in your face. It's not buried. So that one starts at the $12 a month, which is the one that I have. Update your cancellation policy. This isn't super important. The workflows, now that's like if somebody, you can say that if somebody books with you, then you're going to send them this, and then 2 days later you're going to send this. Not as important when you're beginning. Add links to your confirmation page. So I don't do this. The confirmation page just says, hey, thanks for signing up, and that's fine to start with. Redirect your invitees, let's see, automatically to another site after booking. Not really important. Eventually, maybe you'll want to do your website. For me personally, it would be back to the calendar to book more. And view metrics and reporting. I don't use this. Okay? So, for now, free is okay. Let's take a look at the other things. Okay. All right. Teams we don't really care about. Customizations. Remove Calendly branding. It's fine. I don't mind that. You shouldn't mind that. Add branding to your booking page. Like I've got my picture there. That's on all of them. Customize the colors. I don't feel that's important. Integrations is important. So add Calendly to your website. I haven't done this yet. I guess I'll check it out. This must be a new feature. It's included in everything. App integrations. See, one of the integrations that's important here is Zoom. Now, Zoom is a paid service, so you might want to use Google Meet. That's free. But all of them have the ability to connect to Zoom. And that's what I personally have been using. That's going to be another one of the videos in this course. HubSpot, don't use it. MailChimp, yes, I did use that. And that was really important to collect the people. So I'm giving away these free readings. In exchange, people are giving me their email address. So if something else comes up, I have this list of people that I can send out to. And depending on how many different readings you give as you're practicing for free, that list might be pretty large. And given the fact that if they had a really nice reading with you, it'd be really good to reconnect with these people. So that's a really good thing to have. Eventually, not really necessary in the beginning, but that's in the 12. Slack, Intercom, nah. Salesforce, no. Eventually, you're going to want to collect payments. So you can actually have within your event a part where people can pay to schedule that event. So if you book readings online, that would be able to not only schedule through Zoom or Google Meets your one-on-one reading, but also collect the payment for it. So that's really handy, and that's eventually what you're going to want to go. So if you can swing it, at bare minimum to start, I would go with basic, which is free. But if you can swing it and it's worth it to you to be able to, at first collect those email addresses in an automated way into a list, that'd be the professional version. Okay. And like many things, Calendly has two different options here. First option is if you're billed annually, it's $12 a month, so times 12. Or it's a little bit more if you just want to pay as you go, billed monthly. For the most part, I really prefer monthly. unless you have that money lying around and you know you're committing to it, you can always cancel, downgrade, all that. So there you go. So let's go through setting it up. Actually, let's look at mine. I think that would be more beneficial. Pardon me. And this does have something called OmniAuth authentication, so you can either create a account with your email, or if you've got Google or something like that, you can sign in with that, which I do. Alright, so let's take a look. I've got actually a lot of events here. And you see some of these events are gray, and there's a button that says turn on, because they're not available on my booking page. Let me go with a student reading. Okay, so this is like what this one right here. This is what you will want to really start with. Okay, now it is totally up to you how long you want these readings to be. Now, you could be doing a 15-minute speed reading. You could do the 30-minute, is what I started with. You could do an hour. When we're dealing with tools like Zoom, there is a free version of Zoom, and I believe they give you 30 minutes. So you want to do a 15 or a 30-minute, especially if you're using the free version of it. Okay? So let's just go through one option here at a time to give you an idea of what this would look like when you're setting it up. So the first block here is all about what this event is, and you want to give it a nice descriptive name. I have 30-minute student reading. The location you can edit, and you can choose from a phone call, the Google Meet, like I said, which is free for if you have a Gmail account, Zoom, Teams, WebEx, GoTo, some custom. I use Zoom, so I'm just going to cancel it. So doing this, it automatically, when somebody books this with you, it sets up the Zoom, sends everybody the information. You don't have to do it. Again, this is why Calendly is key when you're coming out and doing this professionally, or even as you're bringing yourself up to that professional level and you're practicing. Now, second most important of that is actually giving people a description. And this description is going to appear on the booking page. So here's what I have. Feel free to copy it or to use whatever you feel, but participate in an open psychic mediumship reading with Brian, or you. These readings are free of charge. Excuse me, free of charge. You know, and obviously, if there's a price eventually for you, you'd put it in there. Please ensure that you're in a quiet area, not driving. I did actually have somebody that was driving at the time. And I can tell you one thing, when you're doing readings and people are distracted, if it's you, hopefully not, but the other person, if they're distracted, it just won't work. I would be surprised if it did. It's just too much going on. Where you are able to fully concentrate and participate, and where you'll not be disturbed by pets or others. So I had somebody also that was at a swim meet or swimming lessons, and it was loud, and they couldn't concentrate, and I couldn't concentrate. So I just make sure you put something to that effect within the description and instructions for this event. And now the event link. So this is what it's going to look like if you were to send a link out to people, which you'll be able to do, and I'll show you how to do it. It's calendly.com/whatever you chose. I'm Brian Medium, and then this is the name. So again, make it descriptive. It's a 30-minute student reading, And then you can choose the event color. Choose whatever goes with your feeling. And I chose a electric lime. So save and close. Number 2. This is all about when this will be available on your booking calendar for people to book. And you can do, people can schedule it within a certain number of weekdays or calendar days. So, in this case, what this really means is that people will only be able to book within the next month or that month, okay? They're not going to be able to book months and months ahead. So if you're in a program like I offer, which is the guided mentorship, where I work with you, and that's really a January to a December thing, you can put in a date range and say, my student readings are only going to be through the year. So you'll put the date range in here, like I have January 1st to December 2022. If you choose indefinitely into the future, they could book in 2024 for you. So this is all going to be a matter of preference. I would say, depending on your feeling, I would go within a date range. Or if you're really feeling open, indefinitely into the future. But there might be somebody that books 5 years from now when you're charging, and they booked for free. So keep that in mind. All right, so here's the duration, and they've got pre-built, 15, 30, 45 are custom. In this case, I recommend the 30 minutes, especially if you're using the free Zoom, which gives you 30 minutes. And then you can use an existing schedule if you set one up, or custom hours. I did custom hours, and here's why. I feel it best if you choose just a single day to practice. Of course, this is a practice. If you're going to be doing this professionally, set aside a day or a couple of days. And for me, I did Wednesdays, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. So I have little kids, and 8 p.m. is their bedtime. So I made myself available from 8 to 10. That gave me 8, 9, 10, 2 hours or 4 slots available. And I did it every Wednesday. Now, I can't really change these. They're gray, you see. So if I want to change the hours, I'd have to click in a box that's white, which is in the future. And I can edit all Wednesdays or just that day. And then I could choose the times or just delete it altogether. Now here's something I specifically did not use, but you may consider using it, and this is all about buffers. So you want to give yourself some buffers in between the time that people cannot book reading after reading, so you're not going in from one to the other. Now, I didn't feel a problem when I did it. I didn't run into any problems. Oftentimes I did have reading after reading, so the time management was a really important concept to grasp. But you can do one or both or none. And this just gives you the opportunity to have the time. Now the additional rules. Just a second. Okay, so the additional rules here. Now the scheduling conditions. If you give yourself slots, more slots than, so I had 4. I have 4. But if you had a more open time where people could fill in say 10 slots, but you only really wanted to do no more than 4, you could say that there's only a 4 maximum. So once 4 of those slots are taken up by people booking, no more. So that just limits your work. The invitees can't schedule within. So this is one of those ones that if you're trying to plan your time and people are My dog. Um, if you don't want to be surprised by someone last minute, say, scheduling with you, you might want to consider putting a schedule condition and say that, people can't schedule within a day that way, or 4 hours or 8 hours. That way you're not surprised by somebody who just books on your calendar last minute and you miss it. Time zone automatically detect. I left that alone. So secret event. If we check this and make it a secret event, it does not show up on your calendar when people go to it. I'm going to open this new browser tab here, and I'm going to go to Calendly. My page. And you see, so here's my booking page, and these are all the things that are not hidden. Okay, so these are all the things that people can book. So if you don't want this to be on your page, and at this point, as you're just starting, you only have a single event, it wouldn't really make sense. The only way people would be able to book is if they had the link that you sent to them. So in this case, as you're starting out, that might not make sense. But if you have an event that you just want to do as like, a special thank you for somebody, then you can go ahead and make it a secret event. All right, so I'm going to never mind on those changes, and I'm going to cancel. Yes, okay. So here's another one, the additional options. Now, by default, I believe that there is one box that has the option for people to invite other people, and I would just take that off. You can basically build this form around whatever you want, but I would for sure capture the name and email address. And then for this, I say share anything that would help prepare, maybe if they have a specific question. Now, I really tried both things. I tried to read what they were asking ahead of time, and then I tried just leaving it alone. It's totally up to you and how you work, whether or not you want to kind of get that question ahead of time and maybe meditate on it, or just have it and make sure that you can follow up with that and connect with those people's questions in case they're nervous and they forget. You can also, in this case I did what kind of reading. Do you want a mediumship reading? Do you want a psychic reading? Do you want a little bit of both? And then you can add other questions, and you can type the question in here. And that turns it on or off. Check the box if you want people to absolutely answer it. A one line is like you see here, just the one line, but you could also have multiple lines, like they're typing in a lot of information, like what it is you're looking for. Radio buttons, these can be one choice. A radio button is a single choice, so if it's not answer 1, answer 2, answer 3, it's one of them. If you choose one, it's not 2 or 3, that sort of thing. The other option just gives people to fill in the blank. Checkbox is people can select multiple things, like the mediumship, psychic, a little bit of both. That's a checkbox. Phone number, if you want to put somebody's, put their phone number in there. So that's that. That's the form. So whenever they sign up, they have to fill out that information, especially if you made it required. Here's the workflow. I don't have a workflow here. Notifications. So I have email notifications and email follow-ups, and I have text messages. Let's take a look at the email follow-up. Thank you for your time. Thank you for attending. And there are a bunch of what's called variables. So a lot of this information that people put in ahead of time. So you can click this button and you see like my name, who is you, the invitee name, full name or first name or last name, their email, UUID doesn't matter. Nobody needs to know. Event name, date, description, location. Here's the questions and answers. That block puts it all in there. But you can put individual answers in there. And that's UTM stuff, really doesn't matter. So maybe you can say, thank you for asking these questions or whatever. Thank you for attending. I hope that you enjoy reading. I'd love any feedback on the experience so I continue doing things that connect to people. This is really helpful for you and for that, for your benefit as far as feedback goes, and also for, if you wanted to put that on your website as feedback. And here's where you choose 2 hours after that date, days, minutes. When is this going to be sent? Again, the power of Calendly, friends, is that you don't have to worry or remember. It just happens. So that's cool. So if you use a no reply address, that just won't come back to your email that's associated with the account. I recommend not doing that, because then you want to make sure that you want the feedback you're asking for, so you should get it. You show the cancellation policy. I didn't have one. You can basically say, please don't cancel. Confirmation. There's the confirmation page. Display the Calendly confirmation page. You can display a button with a paid version, schedule another event, and then add a link to like your website maybe. I'll redirect to an external site. Again, those are the paid versions. And then payments. When you have the paid version, you could say, I'm going to collect with PayPal, however much it is, and the payment terms, and save it. That way, that all happens, booking and payment all at once. Amazing. It's really a benefit. And then you turn it on. So that's really all there is to Calendly and setting it up. I definitely recommend, why don't you just start out with the free version, and then as you go and you're ready to take payments, just upgrade. You can upgrade anytime. The integrations here are where you want to connect to things. So video conferencing, here's Zoom. You'll need to connect Zoom or Google Meet to be able to allow those to be options for people. Your calendar, Google Calendar. Marketing, there's MailChimp. So you connect, and when you connect these things, you have to log in. I don't have MailChimp anymore. Payments, when you get there, Stripe or PayPal. PayPal's, I think, easier. People are more familiar with it. But that is it. I am so happy that you are on your way. Calendly is a indispensable tool. If you have any questions about Calendly, shoot me an email. You know how to get to me, and I will be happy to answer it for you. Until then,